Marty and Danielle in the morning on 91X. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me, brewmaster of Karl Strauss, Paul Segura. Happy San Diego Beer Week, dude!
Hi, how's it going?
So normally every year we do a live broadcast from AleSmith for the Speedway Grand Prix. It is a tradition here in San Diego for San Diego Beer Week, and we would be remiss if we didn't catch up with AleSmith this week. So welcome Peter, Quality Control Manager over at AleSmith, and we have had one of the brewers. Welcome, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome, guys.
Beer Week.
Happy Beer Week. Thanks for coming on the show. I'm psyched to try 2 new flavors of one of my all-time favorite beers. I've loved Speedway for a long, long time.
So can you explain what you do every year for Beer Week for Speedway Stout and the Grand Prix?
Yeah, usually we have over 20 variations of Speedway Stout. All the variations are created by staff here. It's usually a few month-long process where in the break room they could write down different variations they want to create, and they get paired with a brewer or cellar person, say like an accounting person comes up with something. They could get paired with a brewer or cellar person that'll help them through the process. We try a lot of growler tests, lots of Speedway Stout, a lot of tweaking the different flavors and ingredients, and we come up with usually 3 laps plus a bonus lap that's barrel-aged. This year it's a little different, so we decided to create a 4-pack that you can actually take home. So you can have a little Grand Prix at your house. So we're trying 2 of the beers in the 4-pack today.
That is really awesome.
I like this one so far. This coffee cake. It tastes like it's got more coffee than normal. Is that part of this coffee cake version?
It's also a really fresh Speedway. So fresh Speedway always has really high coffee levels, and then they'll kind of round out over time and balance in. But this one has traditional coffee cake ingredients of cinnamon, vanilla bean. So in a coffee cake, you're usually adding vanilla extract, but we added vanilla beans in. And then Speedway naturally has coffee in it, so it melds together and works out perfectly.
It comes in at a cool 12% ABV.
Yeah.
So watch out.
It doesn't drink like 12 though. It never really has. It's always been such a smooth beer. There is a place down at Chula Vista that sells Speedway. Well, they used to sell it for under $10 by the pitcher. Right, crazy, right? And you go in and you drink a couple pints of it, and like, man, you realize after about half an hour, 20 minutes that you probably shouldn't have downed 2 pints of it so quickly.
Right.
But it drinks so easy, like, you know.
And that happens to me every year for San Diego Beer Week. You know, we go over to AleSmith every time, and we get at least 2 laps, and we bring a couple friends with us. We'll do all 4 laps, and by the end of it, you're like, oh yeah, glad we took it over.
That's why we serve it in 2 ounces. Every year people complain that, oh, we only got 2-ounce pours, but you got to tell them, no, like 2 ounces is enough. Especially if you're doing all 3 laps plus a bonus lap.
It's like drinking a glass of wine, but tastier.
Mm-hmm.
So whose version was this particular variation? Was it an accountant or a marketing person or something?
So this year we did it a little bit differently because we were pressed for time, and we knew the format was going to be different. So we didn't want to go crazy like we have in the past. And so I just went back into the old recipes. We track every year for Grand Prix, the customers can vote for their favorites. And so I just went back and said, what do people really, really like? Let's just bring those back, because that's what everybody needs right now, is some of that comfort food. So this is really like all the winners. We have one new one this year, the Peppermint Bark, which we're going to try next. But coffee cake was actually, I think it was Matt Fizzette recipe.
It was I think 3 years ago it won. So a lot of these are winners, and we've had 8 years of Grand Prix, so we have a lot of winners. So we're able to bring this one back because it won, and it's tasty. I'm excited for the Peppermint Bark one too.
Yeah, I could see why this was a winner. I mean, it's got a really pleasant cinnamon finish. Like the cinnamon, you get the coffee up front and the, cocoa and all of that, but then the cinnamon kind of takes over halfway through and finishes it out in a really pleasant way. And cinnamon's kind of tricky. A little goes a long way.
Cinnamon's so tricky. Yeah. Lots of growler tests.
Yeah.
Too much cinnamon, too little cinnamon.
How big of quantities did you guys brew each variation in? Are they going into packages, or is it just draft, or?
It's so for the can versions, they're going into can and draft. So you will still be able to get these on draft during Beer Week, during Grand Prix. I think they were, is it 6 barrels or 7 barrels?
Yeah, we did 6 barrels to run it to the canner, and then for the other lap, the one that's only draft, that's just, a little bit more than a half barrel.
Okay. So there's going to be enough to go around. There's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you said that these are going to come in 4 packs, 4 variations. We're going to have the coffee cake and then the peppermint bark that we're about to get into next. But what are the other 2?
So the other 2 are Mo beans, which we use some Ethiopian coffee, and we actually rested it on the coffee. And then the chocolate raspberry.
Ooh, wow.
That's one of my favorites.
Raspberries, vanilla beans, and the coffee. So that one's going to be really good. So that's the 4 in the 4-pack.
Yeah, I think we're canning the chocolate raspberry tonight. And I just tasted off the Bright Tank. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, the peppermint that's coming off of this peppermint bark, right off the nose, it just hits you in the most pleasant way.
Right.
You're already jumping the gun on that, huh?
I couldn't help it. I was just staring at me, and I mean, it is technically November, so it's Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Every time I have Speedway, I wish I had some vanilla ice cream to do floats with.
Yeah.
I bet you guys hear that a lot.
Yeah.
But last year we did a whipped cream one, right?
Yeah, we made whipped cream with Speedway in it, and then served a variant with the whipped cream on top. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's sick.
It was really difficult, but delicious.
Well, so over the years, what are a couple of your guys' favorites of the Speedway variation?
I really like the chocolate raspberry. That's why I wanted to do that. I think, Speedway's been a really cool beer to work with because it's so complex and has so much depth that any flavors you can imagine, there is a way for that to work. It's hard to figure out exactly how much you need to taste it, but I really like the raspberries and the chocolate flavors.
What about you, Peter?
So these are usually hit or miss, but the ones that are more savory. So every year, some people do some savory ones, like mole was a really good one. It's like spice, cocoa, which kind of go well with Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tamarind spice one. Ones that bring out almost salty aspect that are more entree than dessert. Because a lot of them are desserts, but sometimes you need a meal at a Speedway.
Oh, yeah. I personally love the year that you guys did the waffles and syrup. That one is one of my favorites that you guys did. There's that one, and then there was also a German chocolate cake one year that was delicious as well.
Those are good.
Holy cow, that's excellent.
Thank you.
It tastes like Christmas.
It's Christmas in the glass.
This is super good. The peppermint doesn't totally overpower the beer. It tastes like a perfect marriage of Speedway with peppermint. You get the beer forward, and then the peppermint kind of finishes it. Almost similar to the way this cinnamon did in the coffee cake version of it.
Right. And I get so much of the aroma is peppermint, but then you also do get some cocoa nibs towards the end.
Mhm.
Like, oh yeah, this is peppermint bark. It's let's see what else is in there. There's also vanilla beans in there too. Although I think the peppermint wins out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I like them both. I'm gonna have to head over and try that raspberry one too.
Definitely, and you can take it home with you. That's
Yeah.
the really crazy thing about this year is this: we've never, packaged any of these variants at this scale. Sometimes when we find something that really works well, we'll scale it up and do a big release. But this year's definitely special that way.
You guys for sure slayed. So these are available in the tasting room. Can just like roll into the shop and pick them up. Do you need to pre-order them before going in?
So we're gonna have them available during Grand Prix. So the 4-pack should be available on the 13th of Beer Week. So that's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got cans just like me. We don't have labels yet. Hopefully soon.
Is this the
these
size
green
can
labels with-
that people
nice
can take home?
Yeah, it's gonna be a 16-ounce can.
16
Awesome.
So
Four 16-ounce cans.
this would be a nice little pairing for you and like your significant other or you and your friends, because this is plenty beer between the four of them coming in at 12% a piece. Maybe you make yourself a little, like cheese and charcuterie plate or something and do a full-on tasting, because this is fun.
That's 64 ounces of beer. That's a half gallon. Like you can, you can share literally with like 3 other friends, and everybody.
You can have a problem. I don't know.
And usually people come and 1 or 2 friends will buy the laps, but there will be 4 or 5 at a table. So
Yeah.
people are just sharing. It's fun pouring laps because you get to overhear the conversation of the people that like the super sweet ones or the people that like the dry and nutty and spicy ones, and everyone has their own opinion. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and then we are going to ask people to vote again this year. So we want everyone's opinions as far as these cans go.
Right, we're hoping to get a QR code on the label that'll take you right to a little survey site, so you can vote there.
I love it. Democracy in action. Yes.
Yeah.
So besides what's going on with Speedway Stout and Beer Week and Grand Prix, can you give us a quick little update on what's happening with AleSmith and this really weird and funky time that we're living in right now?
Yeah, it's our 25th anniversary this year, so
what? Happy anniversary!
It's a weird year to be celebrating that, but we did kind of a similar thing earlier, about 2 months ago, where we had an anniversary box. You were able to pick it up, or we shipped it as well, of some classics like Extra Pale Ale, ESB, Old Numbskull, things that we haven't brewed in a long time, and people loved it. So that's one way we've been keeping up. We had a lot of new releases this year. Forgeberry is our first like core sour beer. We haven't had anything like that yet. So definitely a lot of new things. The pilot system has helped out a lot. So coming from a quality perspective, I love R&D and I love all the little things we're only getting better, and then all the experimental batches that we're doing right now, and should go out to the public hopefully next year.
Awesome.
Who's doing a lot of the pilot brewing? Is that you?
It's all we're all getting experience on that system. We're trying to share that because that's fun. I mean, I love our big brew house. I love brewing on it. But it's fun to get into the little brew house and like actually be turning valves. Crazy.
Well, that's why I asked, because it's a fun job, and like whoever does that is, gonna stay a long time because it's fun.
Yeah. So we're trying to share that experience and get everybody in there, and then incorporating that into how we're training people to because that really seeing the beer get made like physically is really important to your understanding of it. And it's a lot harder to go to an automated system and actually understand what's going on.
Right. So you take like bartenders and stuff and run them through a day of brewing as well with on the pilot system, or whoever.
We haven't too much yet. We're still getting the cellar guys in there. But yeah, I think eventually it'll be a good system for people to come back and brew on.
That's really cool.
Well, as Peter was, pointing behind him, you are sitting up on the mezzanine there in the tasting room. I will say AleSmith is one of the most beautiful tasting rooms I have ever been inside. You guys are still open and have a food truck, right?
Correct. So we still have the meal policy. So we're open starting Wednesday. So Wednesday to Thursday, 3 to 8. And then we open a little earlier, 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's starting to expand our hours. We brought in Wednesday just a few weeks back.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's awesome seeing people in here again. There are a few Halloween decorations. I don't think you can see them, but they're down there. And we had an awesome Halloween costume party with dog costume contests and stuff. So
I love it.
Still trying to get the vibe of that this tasting room deserves.
For sure. Well,
It is a good vibe. And so you're on the mezzanine, but he looks like he's in that barrel room, that like meeting room next to the Tony Gwynn Museum.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
The dugout.
That's a really cool room.
there's so
And that
much.
Tony Gwynn Museum, for anybody out there who hasn't seen the Tony Gwynn Museum, like, what are you doing with your life? If you're any kind of a Padre fan, I grew up with the Padres and I almost cried. I almost lost it several times in there. It's a beautiful shrine to Tony Gwynn. It's amazing. And I'm really stoked that you guys did that. And, I hope the Gwynn family, there's still like a relationship, right, between the Gwynn family and Peter and
Totally.
yeah.
And
It's
Alicia
an amazing
will come
place.
in here and swap out some of the memorabilia every now and again. So
Oh, how cool.
it's more rotating than you think it is. It's not stagnant. They have plenty more awards and memorabilia than what's in there.
That's amazing. See, AleSmith is such a beautiful little gem right there in Miramar. And again, I can't think of a better way to celebrate our 10 days of San Diego Beer Week than doing our very own Speedway Grand Prix right here on Beer for Breakfast ABV. Thank you so much, Peter and Ted, for joining Paul and I for our Beer Week ABV here on 91X. Please make sure you get out to AleSmith and do your own Speedway Grand Prix at home and get some other beers to go as well. So thank you so much. And we continue tomorrow with another Beer for Breakfast ABV. We are celebrating San Diego Beer Week. Cheers to independently owned craft beer and radio in San Diego.
And cheers to AleSmith, 25 years. Woo-hoo!
91X.